the numbers, how people kill with impunity, and the numbers mean nothing. It's because we're so numb to it. We're so numb to it. Resource wars is what we are fighting. So I know this from a history that I'm born into to fight against the colonization, the dehumanization, and the exploitation of our resources, our lands, and our way of life. And I've watched family murdered. I watched people imprisoned. I watched people tortured. I've been tortured. I've been murdered. I've been attempted to be killed. I've been imprisoned because I attempted to steal a submarine sandwich. I got 8 years in prison in Buffalo, New York at the age of 17. I was starving, had no home, sleeping in the street. 30 below zero. I attempted a robbery, never tried it before in my life, ended up in jail. Judge said, savages like you belong in prison. Gave me 8 years for a submarine sandwich. So, of course, from that moment on, there's a whole sojourn that showed me another reality. The reality of the tortured, the imprisoned, and those that are murdered with impunity from racist, elitist beatings and murders. And I became a part of that kind of craziness for a period of my life. Out of anger, the need to fight back, the need to feel powerful in a powerless situation. Which is the same thing, the same reason now. I am trying to fight back with what the world really does feel deep down inside, a very powerless situation. Where are we at? Where are we going? And the only excuse that I can see for most people that are not dealing with the realities of what we're about to embark upon are those that have been convinced by that silly looking person right there to go out and shop while they send the forces worldwide to kill with impunity and to be killed. So now I'm thinking about my son, I'm thinking about my children, and I'm thinking about how are we going to stop this war on terror? How are we going to stop it? Now on September the 1st, or September the 11th, 2001, I was just getting back from a Sundance down in Maryland, Accokeek, Maryland, at my friend Chief William Kayak's. I was a Sundance practitioner as well as a Sundance chief. And I found a lot of peace and power in those spiritual ways after many years of incarcerations and many years who attempted to kill me when I was in prison, because I started finding a voice and I was able to communicate that voice with a certain level of passion, but a certain level of understanding where anybody could listen to me and hear me. I could talk to just about anybody. I also spent many, many, many hours researching, studying, learning, studying, because I wanted to know. I didn't want to feel powerless. I wanted to feel my power that each and every one of us has, naturally. The natural power, then, is supposed to be our gift in creation as we grow and get stronger, as we become wise and we develop knowledge and wisdom from our personal experiences and growth. I wanted to find my place amongst humanity in a strong, good way. So on September the 11th, well, we just had, before September the 11th, my wife and my children, we all went up to New York. We had been invited by a young fellow who happened to be related to the Rockefellers. A young guy by the name of Will O'Neill happened to see a documentary that was put out on one of the cable TVs where I was one of the featured speakers in a standoff. I was a key principal figure in 1995 called the Stop Us in Lake, British Columbia. Has anybody heard about that in here? So I was involved in that, a principal player in that. So he sees me in this documentary, and he gets a hold of me through a guy that plays the violin, world renowned, known all around the world. And this guy contacts me and says, this guy wanted to do something to help me out. I said, well, you know what? I says, I just now getting this book, my autobiography, done with my partner, my wife. She keeps the door. She's a Cree from northern Manitoba, Churchill, Manitoba. And we met in Edmonton, and it's a strange thing because I'm from New York City. From New York, I'm a New York Indian, and I met this woman from Churchill, Manitoba, and we hit it on fast and furious, and fell in love there in Edmonton. And of course, she wasn't going to New York, and I wasn't really going all the way up to the polar bears in Churchill. but we agreed to go somewhere in Saskatoon together, in Alberta, then eventually British Columbia. Anyways, so the book was done the second week of August. So some of our friends, I met some really good people that were with the Communist Party, and these folks put together this book. They did the editing on it. A whole team of young people took the book and they went through it, researched it, they cleaned it up, did all the editing for typos, and they put it all together. And they printed the book at really base cost, and they donated a lot of time and energy. So I actually got away with selling it or getting it produced for a relatively low cost, comparably to what it would have had to do if I went to another publisher. But in any event, there was the first run of those books. Well, that was actually this is the end of the first run. But that book was about autobiography from Attica to the South Sioux Lake, telling that's the whole story. As well as other things I touch on in there in this book. The 650 pages took us four years to do. Okay, so this book is done now, and we're over there we did the Sundance. We came back up from the Sundance, and this young fellow, again, was a really, really nice guy. He really was. And I guess his mother was the sister of the Rockefellers, David and Nelson O'Neill. She married a guy named O'Neill. At any rate, he puts us up in New York. We're going to have a benefit concert for the book. And he puts us up in a hotel in downtown New York. Now, I knew the area. That's down there. It was just half a block up from the Twin Towers. Now, the first hotel that he offered to us was the hotel called the Marriott Hotel. Then he asked us if we wouldn't mind. Well, for 10 days he put us up there. That was pretty costly. But then he asked us after the first couple of days if we wouldn't mind going to this other hotel, which was the World Financial Trade up a block, up the street. And I said, well, because it was in renovation, and it would cost them a little less. I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. So we're still on the 26th floor of that. But come to find out, we're there. We do the benefit concert on September the 9th, which would have been the 30th anniversary of the time that we took Attica prison in 1971. We liberated the prison. And that's a whole other story, which we won't go into. Well, I'll go into some of it towards the end of this talk here tonight. But on September the 10th, after the event,